James Charles is sleeping with Evan Johnson, the one that broke Kayla Malik's jaw.
Me and Kayla Malik just weren't close friends.
Kayla bestie.
That he did the worst things a human could possibly do. And then you went and DM'd him and formed a friendship with everything that came out of his mouth, but not mine.
Lee, you know what James' response to that was? Can I have him now?
The only way that James Charles will ever take accountability is if it's a brand deal.
Hello everybody, it is me, Salem, and welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are feeling good. I hope you guys are feeling not concussed like I am. Yeah, I have a concussion. As you can tell, the left side of my face is kind of being affected a little bit more because that's exactly where I hit myself. I really do be feeling like the broken dolls that kind of have like the wonky eye like this. That's literally how I feel. I wish I had a story that was really cool, you know, telling you how I saved a grandma and, you know, 5 newborn kittens from a house fire, and I did a triple axel to save their lives, and then I bonked my head, but unfortunately that was not the case. I basically hit my head on a metal rod that opens and closes our curtains. I know. I truly am the guy from SpongeBob with paper glass skin and bones. This is my 3rd concussion in my life, so that's another reason why this is kind of affecting me a little bit more. My doctor is also kind of suspecting some sort of nerve damage, which is why, again, I'm giving off very haunted dolly vibes right now, you know, like some days I wake up and this half of my face is acting up. Some days I'm perfectly fine. It is what it is. I'm so used to bullshit happening to me, like for real. I'm like not even fazed by it. But what matters is that I'm still healthy, I'm healing, and as for my YouTube channel, I still want to upload for you guys. It'll just be in slower frequencies. If I make a couple of mistakes here and there, grammarly or grammatically and stuff, oh Lord, it's already starting. If I miss a point or two, please give me grace because your girl is still trying to girl boss and make that coin while concussed, okay? Because capitalism never sleeps. If I could beg you guys for just a little crumb of grace and understanding, y'all can give me that, okay? Because it seems like the internet keeps giving the whole damn loaf of grace to James Charles every single time he gets canceled.
16 boys have made allegations against James.
I'm not physically attracted to older guys, which sucks. Like, I would date, like, the absolute youngest.
I'm calling the police.
Even though I have a concussion, even I know that this cockroach of the internet has fooled y'all once again.
Me and Kayla Malik just weren't close friends.
Kayla bestie.
Now, if you're like me and you love to hate people, I mean, do in-depth research, you know, then you would know that right now, James Charles is facing his like, what, 6th or 5th wave of cancellation, which I've told y'all before. Canceling doesn't work. Send this fool to Alcatraz or something, okay? You already know he's been canceled for talking to minors, for literally sending inappropriate photos to minors, trying to go after straight men, trying to manipulate them to sleep with him.
Ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate.
Somebody lied to her several times and told her that she was fly, hot, and sexy and beautiful, and she's nothing like that. She's nothing of the sort.
Well, now he's back in the news, unfortunately. He's back in front of our retinas, unfortunately, which really hurts me because my eyes literally do not work right now. And now I have to be extra blinded by his face, you know, because he has somehow slithered his way into a situation that is actually way bigger and more important than him. But unfortunately, he is always at the scene of the crime as always. This time for flirting, supporting, and sleeping with a known literal piece of living crap, Voldemort, if you will, the devil himself, Kayla Malik, ex who is now in jail, Evan Johnson. Especially after Kayla and James were very, very good friends, collabed, and after Kayla admitted to James that her ex was being very toxic to her, he didn't care and actually responded with this.
Lee, you know what James' response to that was? Can I have him now?
Now, if y'all don't know what this situation is, what's going on, why people are so upset at James and how he is involved somehow, when are y'all gonna learn that he's always involved in everything bad that happens, you know, just in general? general. It's a rule of thumb. He's kind of like, you know, the Rumpelstiltskin. Not the Rumpelstiltskin. Who am I trying to think of? No, Rumpelstiltskin is Shane Dawson. As you guys can tell, this concussion has made me a whole different person. I literally do not care anymore. He's basically like the plague of the internet. He just keeps coming whenever he wants. And for some reason, people keep allowing him to. If you guys don't know the timeline or what's going on, Kayla Malik is a 20-year-old TikToker and YouTuber who is very successful, actually. She has a lot of subscribers on YouTube. She has a lot of followers on TikTok. And she basically makes content all about her life, vlogging, makeup. She's also known for kind of her makeup because she has a lot of freckles. And it's kind of crazy to me to think that she has gotten more hate for her freckles than James Charles ever has for talking to minors, which, trust me, will come full circle with that because for some reason he's getting more support than her during this time, despite the story being about her. From afar, it seemed that Kayla was just a young, full of life, happy-go-lucky girl who's just making content for the internet until, you know, dating this guy who seemed to be super perfect to the unknowing person online. But just last month, she released a 2-part YouTube series called He Doesn't Love You, where she actually exposes and very vulnerably like talks about her experience with her ex and how horrible he was to her and just all the things that she was going through these past 9 months with him, which went super viral. And thank God that it did, because people who have survived very intense like that absolutely deserve to be heard. And she also went onto TikTok to kind of show behind the scenes footage of times where she filmed stuff that seemed to be normal on the surface at the time, but behind the scenes was an absolute nightmare with her ex. And throughout this entire time, she was posting content that just appeared normal when in reality it just wasn't. And she has successfully actually taken her ex to court, and now he is in jail. And that's what you get.
And just like that, justice was served. Justice was served.
Throughout this entire time, apparently, James Charles was sleeping with Kayla's ex, knowing that she was going through all of this, housing him, flying him out, and doing stuff like this.
And he was like, well, all we done was off together. Yeah. So in the video, you could hear James calling Evan daddy.
I did not need to know that. I did not need to know that. And she herself has come out on her TikTok through a podcast talking about how she felt very, very hurt by James and very betrayed by James.
Close friend of mine had basically really over in ways I could have never expected, and I got sent proof and receipts, and that person admitted it to me that they had done things I could never do to a person.
Do you think you'll say this person's name at some point? Or
and on the surface, y'all are probably like, oh, so who cares? Like, boy was just breaking bro's back, like, behind the scenes. Well, the thing is that Kayla and James have been friends for a while. They even collabed together. She even opened up to James about how her ex was a horrible person, and he responded with this: "Can I have him now?" And apart from that, it has been alleged that James actually helped her ex make an apology video because supposedly he has been through this before and felt sorry for him. James definitely played a much bigger role in this whole situation than a lot of people don't want to admit. I don't know why, which is so crazy to me because this is the exact reason why, again, I call him the cockroach of the internet, because he keeps on surviving every single cancellation, or what I would just say, every consequence to his actions, because people keep making excuses for him, even though Kayla herself, the victim, said that she was hurt by James doing this to her. But all it took was for James to come onto the internet and yell really loudly and act as if he had no idea what was going on, and people ate it up and forgave him already that quick.
Me and Kayla Malik just weren't close friends.
Kayla, bestie,
Really, and hate to admit it, but I did have a brief friendship with Evan Johnson. I did have a brief friendship with Evan Johnson.
I feel like he isn't lying though. The fact that he did not stutter, this actually low-key seems sincere.
4.5 million likes?
Bro, this generation is so cooked. I can't. Which just shows how gullible everyone has become. I feel like every generation, you know, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, now it's Gen Alpha, has experienced this wave of cancellation for James James Charles, but he just keeps coming back. And at this point, every single person involved in this situation has faced consequences except for him, even though he played a vital role in all of this. And the worst part is that he's threatening to sue anyone who makes videos about him. And y'all already know, I've said this before in other videos, as soon as someone starts to threaten to sue, I'm like, you're guilty. Sorry, you're guilty. So James, if you're watching this, if you want to do your big one and give me a lawsuit, that just proves you're guilty, babes. To quote a very iconic Twitter person in response of you talking to minors, I know the law, baby. Let's do this. Before we get into this timeline, which by the way is messier than James Charles' PR history and internet history, I just want to make this crystal clear. This video does not support James Charles or Be Better or Zach or the hoes who are trying to profit off of Kayla, who is the ultimate most important person in this story. I don't care if I have a concussion, a broken Wi-Fi router, or clearly one brain cell left. Even then, I know not to support those cockroaches on the internet, you know? James is not the main character here, and he never should have been. This video is about Kayla. It's for Kayla. The goal is to bring attention back to where it belongs, her voice and her story. I'm just here to give you guys the timeline, which unfortunately somehow always involves this rata de dos patas and how he slithered his way into this situation and betrayed someone who was already fighting for her life and fighting for justice, and how he tricked y'all into thinking that he's a good person again. So yeah, buckle up and don't get it twisted. We are Team Kayla in this house, period.
Another thing that I want to address before we deep dive into today's video, a lot of people are actually coming at Kayla and dragging her, saying, I can't believe she's making this all about James Charles. Like, she's dragging it at this point. Like, this is too much. She's making it drama. Kayla endured and suffered 9 months of mental and physical abuse. If she wants to talk about whoever she wants that was part of the situation that hurt her, including James Charles, who she considered a very good friend, worked with multiple times on multiple collabs, focusing on him since he again is the last person who had to face any sort of consequences, then she can do that. I think it's so distasteful and disgusting that so many people are saying that she's dragging it. Meanwhile, it's only been a week since she has gotten justice. She should be allowed to approach this journey however the hell she wants, and especially now more than ever that she has responded back to James Charles' so-called virally accepted and glorified apology, which by the way has been accepted by literally everyone on the internet except for the person that matters the most, Kayla, by saying this.
Well, I'm sure by now everybody knows about the situation with me and James, and everybody has told their side of the story except me, and I wanted to wait a little bit, have a little bit more time to just like relish in the fact that I won in court, but the response video was posted an hour after I announced that I won my court case. 1 hour. So I just think it's a load of bullshit. And watching the apology video quite literally pissed me off even more.
So yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
So get a drink, relax, and let's get into this. Now, if you guys don't know, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. Yes, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, which is very important to me and should be important to everyone. So I would like to introduce a sponsor for today's video, which is helping me and my platform get that message out, ZocDoc. If therapy's been on your mind, now's a great time to start, but it's not just about finding any therapist, it's finding the right fit. Whether that means someone who shares your background, offers virtual appointments, even has evening hours or late hours, or is in network with your insurance, ZocDoc makes it easier to find someone who truly gets you. Someone not just for mental health, but for everything from dental to urgent care. You can filter by gender, sexual orientation, languages, and more. And the best part is that you can see real-time slots and book with just one click. Appointments usually happen fast, within 24 to 72 hours, sometimes even the same day, which is so important to me because I am sick and tired of waiting 5 years to run into a doctor and the doctor just tells me, girl, I know that you have a concussion, but just drink water and you'll be fine. Like, girl, no. I've used ZocDoc before, and honestly I can say it just takes the stress out of searching. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Salem to find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZOC.com/Salem. ZocDoc.com/Salem. Have you ever had ideas? I know I do. Have you ever wanted to bring those ideas to life? Well, now you can with Shopify. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US.
US. For brands like Mattel, Gymshark, to people like you and me, and just getting started with an idea. You don't need to be a designer, you don't need to know how to make a website. Shopify already gives you hundreds of ready-to-use templates so that your online store can match your vibe without touching a single line of code. It can help you with product descriptions, page headlines, make your photos pop, and even handle marketing by creating a business email and social media campaigns right inside the Shopify app. And when it comes to not so glam stuff like managing inventory or returns, Shopify is your built-in expert with tools that just make sense. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. So sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/SalemTovar. That's shopify.com/SalemTovar. Shopify.com/SalemTovar.
Really, a lot better than how I was before this. I was like really depressed last week, but I obviously was feeling better this weekend because I was just trying to forget that it happened. But now I'm back. I'm going back to therapy. I feel like my healing process honestly just started, like I said a million times.
Discussion topic 1. The story of Kayla Malik, 9 months of suffering, and how behind the shadows the whole time James Charles was there.
In order for us to start this timeline, we need to focus on the most important person in the story, which is Kayla, and basically how she so strongly survived 9 months of literal nightmares with her ex, which from now on, I'm not going to be saying his name because he doesn't deserve it. I will be just referring to him as Voldemort. We're going to be doing that, starting with her 4-hour-long series on her experience with Voldemort. Kayla Malik is a 20-year-old American social media influencer from Illinois, known for her engaging storytelling and lifestyle content, travel content, makeup content. She has a very significant presence on YouTube with 1.5 million subscribers, and Instagram with over 600k followers, and also TikTok, where she's very big. She has always been known for her makeup and her freckles, which has got her into a lot of controversy because a lot of people hate her because of her freckles, which just rings true about what I'm going to be talking about later on in this video, that when it comes to men versus women, women get canceled on the terms of whether they're deemed likable enough. Men get canceled if they go to jail, and even then they have defenders, and I will never understand that. Hence, James Charles always being defended over anyone else always is just beyond me, but makes that statement ring true, unfortunately. Last month, Kayla bravely came out with a 2-part video called He Doesn't Love You that details everything about her 9-month, very abusive and toxic and downright frightening relationship with Voldemort. Which, first of all, I want to say, please go watch her testimony, her story, because obviously that is the most important thing in this entire situation. Please go support her by watching her tell her story. Here, I'm just going to be giving a little bit of a summary of what she was talking about in those videos for the timeline's sake. Kayla has talked about how this situation is something that she actually has kept secret for a very long time, to the point where not even a lot of her friends or family knew what was going on or what she was going through before these videos were posted onto YouTube. So this is basically her first time ever sharing. So these videos kind of depict her very first time sharing her story with anybody, really. These videos were uploaded around April 4th. In the first series of the videos, she talked about how she came to know her crazy toxic ex, describing how she moved to California and started a single life with her friend Emma, leading to a new guy. And she saw the relationship as kind of casual until they went on a trip together, and she was like, you know what? Maybe he's not that bad. He seems very sweet. However, she does discuss that there were a lot of early red flags in meeting him and spending time with him at first, such as he already previously was in court for driving under the influence and was going through a lot of legal issues behind the scenes, which definitely concerned her. Issues with him also being quick to raise his voice and become kind of just angry. But the way that she interpreted his behavior was, okay, well, he just, has gone out of court. He must be stressed. So she dismisses it. But from there, when they started to get closer and closer, there were things that kind of started off small and still wrong, and then escalated even more, such as a 4th of July incident where he pushed her inside a pool, which made her feel very embarrassed protest because it was in front of people. She said that it ended up in apologies though, so she didn't think much of it. But then it quickly escalated to situations where he would verbally be very cruel to her and then accuse her of always cheating on him, which, why are we surprised? I swear, the worst type of partners are always the ones who are so jealous, possessive, and always accusing you of doing horrible, heinous things behind their backs because they feel so guilty because they're doing it to you. This quickly led to a just cycle of straight up abuse and isolation. In the video, she talks about how he manipulated her basically on the daily. Like, oh, you're not gonna stay here, you're gonna stay with me, you can't go out with your friends. Even going as far as to force her to dance on her friend sexually because he thought that she liked him and he didn't believe her when he said that she didn't want him. I don't even want to call him a person because he's lower than that. This pile of dirt. Actually, no, dirt has purpose and helps the earth. This piece of shit just was really getting off on being super manipulative and controlling for literally no damn reason. Kayla starts to talk about how this eventually led to the very first physical assault in their relationship. It's hard for me to even describe the scenes. I can only imagine how much Kayla was suffering, and I'm so happy that he's in jail and that she's healing now. The escalation of violence started to lead to her being physically harmed in ways that are just, again, I'm just glad that he's in jail. He just basically beat her very badly to the point where she actually got her jaw broken, as well as it escalated so much to the point where he basically almost attempted to murder her.
So I lay down and he's just yelling at me and I'm not responding. I'm acting like I'm asleep. Listen to me, you're not gonna ignore me now. Starts strangle me. Whole body weight is just on my neck. And I've never felt that before in my life. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was gonna die.
And again, I cannot stop saying I'm just so glad that he's somewhere else, locked away. I hope he never sees daylight. She contacted a domestic help hotline for the first time. However, her ex just kept being on her back and just would not let her have alone time or even space to even think about what type of relationship she was in or even a chance to find safety. There were a couple of times where police intervened, but she was so frightened for her life at this point in the relationship that she felt the need to lie to protect her own safety. This is when she starts documenting her injuries and Airbnbs being completely destroyed, blood on counters and everything, to give her proof to help make a decision about leaving or not, but mostly to prove to herself that she wasn't crazy and that this was truly happening to her. And many times in abusive relationships like this, the gaslights the victim into believing that the only reason why this is happening is because they deserved it, because they are the ones who are causing it to happen, and it's all in their head, it's not that bad. So her collecting evidence was kind of like her taking back her power and being like, actually no, this is completely wrong and this is actually happening to me and I have to leave. Even though despite through all of this there were attempts at normalcy, like taking trips to Hawaii, like eating out together and everything, despite it always ending up basically in a fight, which happens a lot in these really bad power dynamic relationships. A lot of people always say, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just leave, to people in these situations, not understanding that it's so much harder than just getting up and leaving. It's so much more complicated, and honestly, it's crazy to think that she was only 19 while going through all of this. She is so brave and strong. That is literally insane. They break up and a couple of days go by and they somehow end up calling again after breaking up, and the very first thing that her ex says to her is not sorry, it's not anything close to that. His first words to Kayla are you gonna post about this online? Wow, he's so sorry. And basically he told her, if you talk about this online, that means you never loved me. Yet again, another really crappy manipulation tactic that people like this use to make their victims feel guilty for owning their own power and exposing them and getting justice. But thank God But Kayla still made these videos because she showed his true colors to everyone, and now justice has been served. After these videos go completely viral on YouTube as well as TikToks of her talking about these encounters and showing all the proof that she has gathered up until this point against her ex, people started to go back onto her TikTok and realize that she looked so unhappy and there were so many signs there, but people were so busy hating on her freckles that they just didn't see. There are so many TikToks of her during this time where she's just crying her eyes out, or there are visible marks on her body where she looks frightened and everything. And it just goes to show that we need to be a lot more aware of the signs when it comes to online people, because there are things that we can do to help. But it just makes me so disappointed on the internet to know that people were so busy focusing on her freckles over her literal safety around this time. Meanwhile, when James Charles, who is also involved in the story and we're getting there, goes online once to say I'm sorry, and everyone eats it up and gives him all the flowers in the world. It just is so disgusting to me. Like, girl, bye. During this time, she goes on a podcast with actually Jacob Sartorius, which I'm like, okay, work, to share her story, but also to announce that she was taking legal action against her ex. But also in this podcast, she says this.
I can't get into too much right now, but I found out at Coachella literally last weekend that a close friend of mine had basically really fucked me over in ways I could have never expected, and I got sent proof.
She talks about how one of her friends who were close to her betrayed her, and that when she confronted this friend, they admitted that yes, they betrayed her. Now, a lot of people were wondering, wait, okay, who is she talking about? Like, who is this person that would possibly like get with her ex, fly him out, buy him all these things and all this stuff? And people were putting two and two together and kind of looking at the timelines and realizing that every single time that her ex would disappear, he would be in the same location that James Charles was at. So then people started commenting, is it James Charles? Is it James Charles? And Kayla liked every single one that said James Charles' name.
Well, I'm sure by now everybody knows about the situation with me and James.
Now, if you guys don't know, there actually is connection with Kayla and James Charles. Throughout all of this, they have actually collabed so many times together. They literally have a YouTube video together where James does her makeup. He has contacted her so many times about like, oh, I want to do makeup with you and your man. I want to do your man's makeup and this and that. Going to Coachella together. All these things, he has been there the entire time just for her to find out that he was actually texting her abusive ex, flirting with her ex, and choosing her abusive ex over her the entire time, and actually went as far to help her abusive ex make an apology video, as well as giving him housing while he was being canceled, as well as him asking her, can I have him now, when she texted him about the My brain hurts. She has every right to feel upset and angry, and girl, trust me, I would be too. Especially after going through so much. The worst feeling is when the people that you thought cared about you prove to you through their actions that they actually don't. And James Charles is absolutely part of that.
Me and Kayla Malik just weren't close friends. I really fucking hate to admit it, but I did have a brief friendship with Evan Johnson. And it
just had a caption on it, and James was bent over completely naked on the bed and said, "Daddy, I want your big."
Discussion topic 2, how James Charles slithered his way into Kayla Malik's story and made everything about himself, and also how he betrayed her, and also how he was literally defending an abuser, and also how he's just overall a horrible person. Okay, thank you, bye.
Now, you're probably wondering, how the hell did James Charles slither his way into this one? Well, he has a way of just infesting anyone's life who is remotely famous so that he can get clout off of them. And unfortunately, Kayla just so happened to be one of them. They did a makeup collab. There was even talks of him wanting to sell sell merch with Kayla and her ex at the time. So like basically any excuse to hang out with Kayla to truly just be with her ex, which to me is just so disgusting.
The purpose of the second part of this video, which includes James, is to give context into his very long 10-minute TikTok apology and how many contradictions, how much hypocrisy, and how much proof there is against his so-called apology.
And the reason why all of this came to light was definitely Kayla sharing her story and her sharing about how she felt betrayed and hurt by James Charles, but also because of another TikToker by the name of Zach Seller, who came onto TikTok to basically expose what was happening behind the scenes during all of this. Now, before I talk about Zach Seller, I do need to say this. Bro was coming after James Charles just to have allegations himself. When I say that literally there are so many people involved in this story who are just trying to be clout hungry goblins or are James Charles, literally all of them are horrible people. The main story should be focusing on Kayla. However, the reason why Zach Seller got so big and why there was so much attention on him is because he actually has ties to both Kayla and her ex.
And I can speak on anything I want to speak on, like she said. I had evidence on this as well.
He was supposedly best friends with Kayla's ex this entire time, and once he found out about what was truly happening with Kayla, he decided to expose her ex and James Charles all in once with Kayla's approval. These videos were very short and they were getting heavily suppressed in the TikTok algorithm, I noticed, because I noticed that whenever people were talking about James Charles, he would pop up and everything, but they wouldn't have that much views or likes or anything. Despite this guy being problematic and stuff, it doesn't mean that what he's saying is not true. So, you know, there's two things that can be true at once, and this just happens to be one of those situations. He went onto TikTok to basically share information about how James was flirting, her ex, you know, aka Voldemort, as well as flying him out, as well as knowing about the abuse, but how he defended Voldemort behind closed doors because he wanted to date him.
James knew.
Yes.
That's a fact. The only question is, he either didn't believe Kayla or he didn't care. Which one do you think it was?
He didn't care. James didn't care.
And keep in mind, this entire time, Kayla was under the assumption that her ex Voldemort was actually straight. But as we know, James Charles has a pattern of not only going for younger guys, which by the way, at this time, Kayla and her ex are 20 years old. James Charles is my age, which is around 26, 27. So he's repeating the pattern there of going for younger people, but as well as repeating the pattern of going for straight guys, which he himself has admitted that he really, really likes. So no surprise there. But as well as them having a very intimate relationship and just so much more, to the point where Zach's TikToks started to gain the attention of someone called Be Better on TikTok. And remember how I said everyone besides Kayla is problematic in this story? Yeah, I literally mean it, because even Be Better has gone into controversies before for being anti-Harris, as well as just overall being a really bad journalist, which is a whole thing. But like I said, these are people that Kayla entrusted to share her story. It's not her fault that she didn't know or doesn't know. And honestly, she doesn't need to address this right now. She's way busier with other things. But as of now, Be Better reached out to Zach Seller to create a podcast called Investigating James Charles, which has only 700,000 views. I expected it to have like at least 1 million. But again, all of this stuff is getting heavily suppressed by the algorithm because again, James is literally threatening to sue people that are even daring to speak out about all of this stuff. I don't recommend watching this video because I don't want to give these people support. However, I watched it to give you guys kind of a summary of what's been going on, especially because at the end of the video, Kayla actually FaceTimes into the podcast and kind of gives this podcast her seal of approval. So if you guys want to watch this podcast for the sake of supporting Kayla, I say do so. You have free will, but definitely just keep in mind that these people are just not the best people. The podcast kind of starts with Zach describing how Voldemort tried to justify all of the attempts. Voldemort kept mentioning that it takes two to tango, and this is a reference to Voldemort's apology video, which he posted after Kayla came out with her story, and it was so horribly done. You can tell that this is someone who is so full of themselves, who knows nothing about consequences or accountability. It's actually kind of shocking that James Charles would even see. Actually, it's not shocking. It's James Charles. He himself is also devoid of light behind his eyes and everything, but the red flags are there even in his apology video. It's absolutely disgusting. I'll put a brief clip of his apology video here just so y'all can get the gist of how manipulative this man is.
The 9 months we were together, she said the whole 9 months I was abused. Right? Why would we go out all the time and do all these crazy adventurous stuff if the whole time it was just terrible? If I was such this terrible guy, why would she be with me? She could have left me at any second. Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And James really wanted to tap that. Anyways, in this podcast, Zach uncovers messages exchanged between Evan and James, which included very inappropriate and explicit content, such as this.
And a caption on it, and James was bent over completely naked on the bed and said, "Daddy, I want your big."
Again, I'm sorry guys, if I had to see that, you guys had to see it too. I'm sorry. He also talked about the relationship between James and Voldemort was intimate in nature. When Zach was first coming out with his expose videos on James Charles, apparently 5 minutes didn't even go by until James quickly reached out to Zach about the video, basically saying, "I've been seeing all the videos that you've been posting about me, and all I gotta say to that is, which, first of all, that's how you know someone is guilty, when they do immediate damage control within the first 2 seconds of someone posting something. Like, he's just so guilty. It's so insane that he got away with this yet again, which we'll get to. In their interaction, James basically said that he himself was manipulated by Voldemort, and that he was manipulated to feel empathy for him and manipulated to give him support and advice, because supposedly Voldemort told him that we're one and the same. We're 2 peas in a pod. We've both been canceled. You know how it feels. Girl, be so for real right now.
James started the friendship as, "I'm here for you. I've been through the same kind of things. Like, I want to give you advice. Listen to me."
I think I want to believe that James was manipulated, especially because this is someone who is literally in jail right now for being an actual piece of living crap. However, this is a pattern that James continues to follow, where he, being the older person with much more power, goes for these younger straight men, manipulates them to be in a relationship with him. And I just can't really say much about this portion, because if the shoe fits, the shoe fits. You know what I mean? This is, at this point, it's a pattern, and it's a pattern that we're not surprised about.
But there was an influencer, a really big influencer, that was on the phone with him and was telling him that the best thing for him to do is to stay quiet, but go ahead and record some videos of him explaining his side of the story.
It wasn't shown in the podcast, but Zach was showing screenshots of supposedly Voldemort visiting James Charles' house, confirming that even after all of this was opened, and stated that he was still flying Voldemort out, sleeping with him, paying for stuff, and defending him and giving him advice on how to do damage control.
In this podcast, they also talked about how James Charles' victim blamed Kayla.
They started picking up back on their conversation. And that's when James came back to Evan and was like, "Well, you didn't lose anything, Evan, out of this. If anything, you won. You got away from the psycho. She is the psychopath. Like, you are not the problem. She's the problem. She's been known to be the problem."
The fact that my word was not believed. My text messages of me saying that it was abusive, that he did the worst things a human could possibly do, those were taken lightheartedly. And then you went and DM'd him and formed a friendship with my ex-boyfriend, believed everything he was saying about being depressed and suicidal, and you wanted to sit there and be there for him, and you believed everything that came out of his mouth, but not mine. That's crazy to me.
It was also alleged that James actually originally invited Voldemort, Kayla's ex, again, all this information is out already, to Coachella weekend, but he then stopped as he found that his response that he helped Voldemort make was not going over too well. So for damage control, he was like, wait, actually, never mind. And then the Coachella weekend, that is also when Kayla found out everything about everything that was happening between James Charles and her ex.
I can't get into too much right now, but I found out at Coachella literally last weekend that a close friend of mine had basically really fucked me over in ways I could have never expected, and I got sent proof and receipts, and that person admitted it to me that they had done it.
I really fucking hate to admit it, but I did have a brief friendship with Evan Johnson.
We were in contact. He actually FaceTimed me that Kayla had messaged James and said, you know, crazy question, around the lines of crazy question, but by any chance is Evan with you? James plays dumb and he goes, Evan, question mark? And she's like, my ex, Evan. And then he comes back and James comes back and goes, why would I be with Evan? Evan was sitting right beside James as James was literally lying to Kayla.
Not only planning to take him to Coachella, but in general having contact not only during Kayla's use, but also after Kayla had told James Charles what Voldemort did to her, and playing dumb about it when Kayla confronted him about it.
What do you mean?
I did.
The podcast ends with Be Better and Zach basically patting themselves on the back by saying men need to stand up more for women and abuse that they face in these types of relationships, despite they themselves being problematic as hell, and also Zach having abuse allegations himself. So no. But the most important part of the video was the end where Kayla gives her seal of approval to basically this interview, kind of saying like, yes, James Charles did do this to me. Now this video was posted about 13 days ago, and throughout this time there has been a lot of talk of a mass unfollowing of James Charles, which you already know how I feel about that. That stuff never works, and it didn't work because he's back to gaining all of the followers that he supposedly lost during that very short-lived 2 days where people were mad at him. A lot of people were coming onto TikTok with more evidence, especially other influencers, saying that they saw him with Voldemort, that he has been lying to people, that they don't know why other influencers aren't speaking up, so on and so forth. But it's because whenever someone tries to speak up, James is there with his big boy money to hand someone a lawsuit and to silence them, which again for me just screams guilty. But just throughout these days, it was actually kind of shocking to see that so many people actually were not hating on James Charles. If anything, were supporting him, which is even more wild to me, almost as if people were like, I don't believe James would do that. And at first I was like, this is someone who has been in controversy after controversy, until I realized, oh, the new audience and rebrand that he did is specifically for people who had no idea what he's been previously canceled for. Now it's all making sense. And it makes more sense as to why everyone ate up his very half-assed, poorly written apology.
Listen, I get it. If your name's being slandered and you want to clock that shit, clock it. I get it. But to do it an hour after I win the court case is crazy, in my opinion. An hour, 1 hour after I announced that I win the court case, here's a 10-minute video and all my comments are now flooded with, did you see James's new video? I'm just gonna end this here. I just think it's a load of bullshit.
Discussion topic 3 and final discussion topic: James Charles' fake apology, Kayla's clapback, and the final truth. So I know that the second part of this video, where I talk about James Charles and his involvement in all of this, may come off as quote unquote drama or dragging it out to a lot of people. And in fact, Kayla herself has addressed this sentiment that a lot of people are sharing towards her coming out talking about how James Charles betrayed her. People are saying, oh, she's dragging it at this point, or what does this have to do with her DV case? And she has responded to that in her own words with this statement.
And everybody has told their side of the story except me. And in my opinion, I was the one f***ed over. There should not be a second part to this. It should have ended right there. And then none of this happened. There wouldn't be a drama. There wouldn't be a this wouldn't be a drama if it ended where it should have. And in my opinion, if you have good morals, it would have ended there. And there would have been no communication between him and past that point.
I actually think it's pretty strange that I have been seeing this sentiment in general around TikTok and conversations surrounding this situation, that people are giving so much more empathy and grace and understanding and space for James versus Kayla's truth and her story, that it's actually just disgusting. This isn't about dragging drama or creating conflict for the sake of it. It's about understanding the real impact that these actions have on real lives, Kayla's experience, and the timing of events that are crucial to understanding the broader context and the reasons behind her hurt and response and why she's speaking out about this to even begin with, such as James posting his apology video an hour after she won her court case. I'm sorry, but that's so wrong and shady, and she herself feels that way as well. Please keep in mind that the gravity of what we're discussing is not just tea or anything, and try to see things through her perspective as to why she would feel betrayed and hurt, especially because she is the main character of this story. I'm always shocked to see how much people will bend and break and do double cartwheels and land in a damn handstand in order to protect James over and over again. But this is also why he never learns or takes accountability for literally anything, and why we keep seeing him continuously get into controversies such as this over and over again. And instead of genuinely apologizing and leaving the platform, he just does a half-assed apology, everyone eats it up, he rebrands, and then moves on to another platform to get even more rich.
Now, if you guys don't know who James Charles is, why are you lying to yourself? You know exactly who he is. And if you do know who James Charles is, you probably know him for 3 things. 1, makeup. 2, this meme. And 3, the fact that he is a literal PDF file and is someone who purposely goes for men who are, and I quote, as young as possible, and for straight men.
I'm not physically attracted to older guys, which sucks. Like, I would date like the absolute youngest.
And for so many other things that is just so disgusting that I'm like, how is he not in jail? But I digress. It seems that every single generation, James Charles finds himself in a new scandal, and he always finds a way to weasel out of it, to not only go into another scandal, to then just rebrand, to make sure that the next generation of online people don't know who he is, so that he can just keep getting money and getting more famous. It's actually kind of crazy because ever since I've been online, I have lived long enough to see him rebrand successfully every single time, after every single allegation, after every story someone has come out against him, after every single problematic thing that he's done. I don't believe cancel culture is a thing, because I swear nothing ever comes of it, and the only thing that comes of it is more attention. Have y'all heard of that thing called any publicity, good or bad, is still good publicity? Bro knows how to really rebrand himself to look better and better in the eyes of unknowing people who are barely joining the internet. Like when I was first starting YouTube, he got into controversies for texting minors, and then that kind of died out for a long time, and then he came back, and then he got exposed again for flirting with minors on his TikTok For You page, which, first of all, get a room. And he did it so much to the point where he's like, I now have to ask for IDs before I flirt with people. Well, damn, how many times have you done it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know you have a problem when you have to start asking for IDs before you flirt with people, because it's like you clearly just have poor judgment of who you're flirting with to begin with. I don't know, it's just wild to me. And the way that he does these rebrands is he'll go from, you know, his original cancellation was from YouTube. So he stopped doing YouTube, right? For a very long time. And when Instagram was popping, then he went on to Instagram for his second rebrand. And now for his third rebrand after his third cancellation, he is on TikTok. And I remember when I first joined TikTok as just like a user, I still don't upload that much, which I think I should, but I don't have the urge or energy to do so. And when I saw him show up on my For You page, first of all, it was like a damn jump scare. I was not expecting to see him, but I was even more surprised to see that no one remembers anything that he did or that he's done or the scandals he was a part of. He is rich, he is successful, he is still getting sponsorships, he has so much support to the point where after even this third expose of him, again, repeating the same patterns that he's been canceled for the last 2 times, I have literally seen verbatim with my freaking eyeballs people saying, I don't care, I still love him. And you guys wonder why he keeps getting away with stuff. And by the way, the gravity of his scandals keep getting worse and worse. I wonder why that is. It's almost like he knows that he can get away with it every single time, so that's why he felt comfortable getting with an to begin with, because he knows, oh, I'm gonna be fine. I'm just gonna yell at the camera and explain what was actually happening in a way where people are gonna get convinced that I sound certain of myself, which is exactly what he did, by the way. A few weeks later, after all of this, the day of Kayla going to court to go against her ex to get him officially sentenced. James Charles decided to make it about himself and posted on his story that he does not support her ex and that he is going to wait to address everything after the sentencing. Thankfully, Kayla got her justice. He is in jail. We cannot be happier. But for some reason, James decided to steal her thunder and posted his 10-minute apology video onto TikTok.
I hate that I'm getting online and filming this video right now, but I truthfully have no other choice because I've also spent the last several weeks trying to get in contact with the only person involved in this that actually matters and needs to hear the truth, and that's Kayla Malik. And she has been unwilling to have a conversation with me.
Which I cannot believe was received so well, because I'm like, I know damn well y'all did not watch the full 10-minute video because your attention spans are that of a squirrel. But if you actually watch the entire thing like I did for research purposes for this video, you will know, especially knowing after all the stuff that we talked about in this video, how much of it is just straight up lies, manipulation, and gaslighting of his own audience. And the reason why people fell for it is because he sounds so certain and was cussing every 2 seconds. And as we all know, as Plankton said,
talk loud when they want to act smart, right? Correct! So if we play loud, people might think we're good.
People really fell for it, like, oh my god, this is why he keeps getting away with everything. He had this apology in the drafts, by the way. He said that he was gonna wait to post after the sentencing for Kayla, yet the dates that he's saying in the video do not match up with the actual day that he uploaded. Meaning that not only did he rehearse this, but he also filmed it way before any of this happened, because he knows the drill. He has gone through this so many times. He knows to be prepared. He knows to be convincing. He knows to be, you know, looking relatable without his makeup and stuff. And he also knows that no one's gonna watch a 10-minute long TikTok video. If this was on YouTube, people would absolutely watch because people are used to long form content, but he knew to make the video long on TikTok because everyone's so used to short form content that they're just gonna see the first 5 seconds and be like, oh yeah, I'm convinced. And that's exactly what happened because everyone in the comments are eating it up. Let me just go through a little bit of these comments with y'all, okay? This video has 4.5 million likes. 4.5 million likes. His apology video. Caption, filmed this yesterday, but I promised privately that I would wait for the court case to be over before speaking publicly. Happy Kayla got the justice that she deserves. Heart. Let's look at the comments now, okay? Just to show you how convinced and how successful James was with his gaslighting to his audience. This was actually a really good response in my opinion. 500,000 likes. I feel like he isn't lying though. 400,000 likes. The fact that he did not stutter, 400,000 likes. I believe him, gang. 400 likes. This seems genuine, TBH. 300,000 likes. This actually low-key seems sincere. 300,000 likes. I'm just gonna say this. Second red flag to all of this, or third red flag, I don't know, there's a bunch of red flags to all of this, is the fact that, oh, the comments are disabled. Interesting. Usually when an apology video isn't taken well, influencers, especially like James Charles, will disable the comments because they're not on his side. However, the one time that people are eating it up because they don't know his history, because this is a new generation to be exposed to James Charles, because he has successfully gone onto another platform for a clean slate, people saying, oh my god, I believe him, king, oh my god, and he's keeping those up. It's for a reason. It's for a reason. It's to make his apology look more believable. That look at all these people who are supporting me, like this is legit, like I have so much support, I'm gonna be fine yet again. Nah, this is crazy to me. This is crazy to me. Another red flag is the fact that he literally uploaded this video the day of her success, her win against her ex for the court case, which I think is just so distasteful. Like, I just don't get it. I'm not gonna play the entire apology in its entirety because James Charles can eat my ass. Actually, he might like that. Anyways, but I can tell you the aspects of the apology video that was complete bullcrap. So dates are wrong, uploaded it just on a day that had nothing to do with him. Second, keeping the comments up, being loud and pretending like he actually cares, which he doesn't, getting the dates wrong.
I do not support Evan Johnson in any way, shape, or form, and let me make that fucking clear. This is not TikTok tea and drama for everyone else's entertainment. This is real people dealing with some really serious shit. The conversation has completely shifted focus away from Kayla Malik and how she was brave enough to speak out about what she went through to how James Charles involved.
And yet the victim herself, Kayla, the main person in the story, opened up and said that you contributed to the hurt.
Watching the apology video quite literally pissed me off even more.
So he's trying to pull the card of, I can't believe people are saying that this is tea. No one's calling it tea. No one's calling it tea. And people are upset at you because the victim is upset at you. In fact, James Charles says later on this video, again, if people actually watch the entire video, that Kayla doesn't even want to speak to him right now.
The only person involved in this that actually matters and needs to hear the truth, and that's Kayla Malik. And she has been unwilling to have a conversation with me.
Shouldn't that tell us everything, that she has even forgave him or has even looked his way? So why should we? Because we stand with the victim, not you? Or am I tripping, guys? Or am I tripping? Interesting.
I will gladly send you a screenshot of my transaction history. I have nothing to hide, and I have not sent Evan Johnson $1 single.
So if you have nothing to hide and if you have full support of her, then support her. Support her then. If you have nothing to hide, then you have nothing to fear of his team grabbing stuff that you will say to defend him, unless you have given some sort of defense. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, guys? Either way, the court case is over, and thank God that he didn't open his big ass mouth, because he probably knew that if he did step in, they would use him as some sort of defense to make Voldemort look good. Because guess who was helping him with his apology video? James. Guess who was in the background housing him? James. Guess who was going to invite him to Coachella weekend? James. Are we watching the same apology video? I can't. Okay, check this out.
And that's Kayla Malik. And she has been unwilling to have a conversation with me. And frankly, I don't blame her.
He says, I don't blame her. What do you think he's gonna say next? Because she said in this video, right, that this friend that she confronted admitted to seeing him behind the scenes and stuff, right? Now, James doesn't say she's not wanting to talk to me because I already admitted it, but because of the Be Better interview. I don't think that's the reason why she doesn't want to talk to you. I really highly doubt it. Everyone knows that in this situation, there's so much more information out there right now and everything, that I just highly doubt that the interview and stuff like that was the main reason why she doesn't want to talk to you.
On his side. I feel so fucking dumb for ever believing him, but when I was in a similar situation, all I cared about was anybody treating me like a human being and hearing me out and being there for him, so that's what I tried to provide.
This is always wild to me, because whenever it comes to someone in distress who clearly needs help, hoes love pulling out the I didn't even know them like that card. Am I crazy, guys, for saying this? But even if you don't know someone, shouldn't you just give them the benefit of the doubt, especially if you've worked with them multiple times? And like, also that you shouldn't have been hanging out with her boyfriend to begin with because he was already dating her. Like, I guess it's just kind of crazy to me when people use the card of I didn't even know them that well, so does that excuse all the stuff that you did simply because you didn't know them that well? I never understood that type of logic.
I really hate to admit it, but I did have a brief friendship with Evan Johnson.
See, he just admitted that he was involved, and hoes are still saying, oh my gosh, James, you're such a good person, I forgive you. Bro just admitted it.
And eventually he told me that he wanted to come out to LA to escape and get his mind off of things for a weekend, so I invited him out. All we did was sit on the couch, order food, watch movies, but over the course of the weekend, I slowly started to notice that some of his stories were not exactly lining up.
I don't think I need to even say anything for that part. That's ridiculous.
There were inconsistencies, and I started to get worried that I might be on the wrong side of things, and that was confirmed as soon as Kayla noticed that he was at my house and I had to lie to her. I didn't know what to do. I realized then that I was in the middle of a very fucking messy situation that I should have never gotten involved with in the first place, but this man was staying with me and I didn't know how to get out of it.
I didn't know what to do. I don't know, call the cops?
YouTube, I give you my full permission to release any communications between myself or my team to you guys about this matter because, again, they don't exist. It really sucks that at this point I am left with no options other than to pursue a case.
For some reason, after this apology video or whatever, it basically ended and all the people who are like, guys, mass unfollow James Charles, mass unfollow James Charles. Not only has he regained all the people who said to mass unfollow him, he's actually gotten bigger because of this apology video, which again is very strange to me because all that support should be, like he said, going to Kayla. So then why did he make this situation completely about him? I just don't know why people aren't using their thinking caps, their context clues, if you will, to really look deep into the situation. Girl, I'm concussed and I could see through the lies. Okay? Y'all can too. It's just ridiculous to me. Do y'all believe him? I, for one, don't. I don't. Sorry.
But most importantly, you know who else doesn't believe him? Kayla, the victim in this whole situation. About 2 days after James's apology video, Kayla came onto the internet to address literally everything, not only with receipts, but with screenshots, proof, and just talking about how his apology made her feel and how she just isn't in the time or space to talk to him quite yet.
Watching the apology video quite literally pissed me off even more. And everybody has told their side of the story except me. And in my opinion, I was the one her. So it's only fair for me to tell my side of the story. And I wanted to wait a little bit, have a little bit more time to just like relish in the fact that I won in court. But the response video was posted an hour after I announced that I won my court case. 1 hour. Me and James have never DM'd on TikTok. The only previous messages we had on TikTok was us collab posting from when we would film together when I started my Glow Up series, like I was just talking about. It's a video of us dancing together at Yosemite, and James slides up and says, "Girl, he's so hot." And I'm just like, haha, yeah, whatever. Evan did tell me after that James was just saying how Evan was the hottest guy at the bar and he was the hottest guy there. 2 months after that, I get another DM from James. On December 17th, I posted a video of us at Hawaii together, and James, once again, our only DMs is him once again being like, "Oh my God, he's so beautiful." But we're all sitting on the balcony of our Airbnb talking, and Evan starts saying that James is DMing him on Instagram. And immediately I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you DMing James? And James sends back this saying like, "Why should I come to Hawaii?" And that, for the first time, I'm pretty sure they continued to text throughout the night. So I text James that we have broken up. I explained that we broke up. I was going to do a 30-part series. And mind you, he is the only person that I told, because this is a day after we officially broke up, he is the only person I told about a, quote, 30-part series that I was going to film about what I had went through. He goes, "What?" I go, "Girl, he's fucking..." And then there we go. What happened? Can I have him now? More going on, but he asks again about the series. That was the last time we texted until he flew Evan out to California. But in these, I made it pretty clear that Evan had over. I brought up abuse, the worst thing a human can do. At the end of the day, he knows me more than he knows Evan. And this says to me, "You, what I did to you, you never loved me." But in the of that phone call, talking, brings up me a 30 series. And immediately, how do I know that? And he said a part series. The only person that I did about making a part series.
To go see her full response, I highly recommend going on Kayla Malik's TikTok to see her respond to James and basically debunk everything that James said in his apology, because honestly, it is absolutely wild. If you look at her response, know that there were so many people fooled by James's response. The fact that James told her ahead of time that Kayla was going to come out with her survivor story, that in itself should be enough for anyone to realize how at fault James is and how he played a part in all of this and putting her into danger all over again. But everyone is brushing this aside and just forgiving James on the spot, or saying that he has no part of this, or that people are hating on James more than her ex when he literally could have put her in danger. Made her court case day about himself and his apology, knew about the that was going on, and still asked Kayla if she could have him, flew him out even after a week of him being exposed, helped him with his apology video for PR damage, and so much more. And I'm just shocked that some people are still on his side.
And it doesn't help that the people who are involved in trying to share Kayla's truth are literal clowns, because Zach, the guy who was, brought this to the forefront to begin with the whole James Charles thing, besides, Kayla also talking about it, the fact that he has gone after James's apology to not defend himself further, to not redirect all of this to supporting Kayla, but to be like, I'm gonna drop by sister merch, and him begging for galaxies on TikTok Live.
Or with the money gun! Yes! I love you! Oh, they're hating this.
Girl, I'm so over this. I'm so over Zach. I'm over James Charles. I'm over all these men men trying to make this stuff about them when ultimately it has always been about Kayla. And it doesn't matter who or what is denying or accepting James Charles' apology. The only person that matters that should be accepting that apology from James is Kayla. And guess what? She hasn't, and she doesn't. She has been vocal about how he has hurt her, and yet everyone is still siding on James. And there has been some people, because of, you know, Zach also being exposed, being like, well, now that Zach is being exposed, I'm on team James. Like, what? Or some people are like, I hate James, so team Zach. Y'all are about to, oh my God, y'all are about to give me another concussion. This isn't about teams. This isn't about sides. And even if it was, it should be about Kayla. James, out of all the things that you said within that 10-minute blabber fest and yapping fest was absolutely true. Only one thing, which is you should have never gotten involved in the first place. You should have never gotten involved in the first place. And I'll take it one further. You shouldn't have a platform to begin with anyways. I'm sick and tired of him always rebranding just to get into a scandal that's even bigger and bigger and bigger. From what we know and from what he has admitted to, bro should be in a jail cell next to Kayla's ex. And so many people are like, I can't believe people are making this about James Charles and this and that. I, for one, am the type of person who believes that bystanders are not as the same amount to blame as the perpetrator, but they do play a big part in it. And for some reason, everyone, even Zach King, has deleted his social media completely. So he faced consequences for making the situation about him. Be better. Bro has been through his own controversies and everything. He has faced his own consequences. James Charles is the only person in this situation who keeps getting away with it scot-free. And who knows, if he keeps getting away with stuff like this, who knows what the next scandal will be and if it'll hurt even more people or be even more dire. Because clearly, with this insane amount of support, 4.5 million people telling him that he's a good person, that he has nothing to worry about, that who cares how the victim feels, who cares about how his previous victims feel. This is literally making a future disaster, genuinely. All I know is that my heart and my support goes out to Kayla. If you guys are watching this right now, if you guys have made it to the very end, around the end of the video, I ask for you guys to go follow her, go send her lots of love, celebrate with her the fact that her abuser is now in jail. The sentencing ended up being only a year, but she is now trying to take legal action in the other states where other harmful actions were taking place against her. If you're watching this and you follow James Charles and you thought his apology was authentic, please unfollow him. You don't have to follow him, okay? I really hope that Kayla is healing, that she is bouncing back after all of this, and I hope and pray that James Charles stops making it about himself.
And I just want to end this video on this last statement. I do think it's very, very strange how quick people are to listen to James and his voice and his supposed side of the story, the one who did all this to her, while the actual victim gets pushed aside or being told that she's too loud or saying too much or doing too much. The internet claims to care about survivors, but about justice, about doing the right thing, until it means holding someone that they like or someone that is very memeable accountable. If you only believe victims when it's convenient for you, then you were never really on their side. If your empathy ends the moment it challenges your viewpoint on your favorite influencer, then maybe you never had empathy to begin with. And to every survivor watching this, even if the world tries to silence you, your truth is powerful, and keep on speaking no matter how long and how loud.
Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys made it to the very end of this video, comment down a duck emoji down below so I know that you guys watched this entire thing. If you guys did, you guys win an internet hug. Yay! Hugs, hugs. I can definitely feel the left side of my head kind of acting up after all this ranting and looking at this ring light. So I'm going to kind of wrap this up quicker than usual. Remember to like and subscribe. If y'all can get James Charles to 5 bajillion subscribers, y'all can definitely get me to 1 milli. Thank you. Comment down below your opinion on all of this. How do you think James keeps evading capture and consequences? Let me know down below. Remember to keep it nice and respectful. Any sort of cruelty in the comments will not be tolerated towards myself or Kayla. So don't even try it with me. If you guys haven't already, follow me on Spotify and Apple Music on my podcast called the Salem Tovar Podcast. So you guys can get audio versions of my YouTube channel and you can take it with you wherever you want. Follow me on Instagram at _Salem Tovar_. underscore, so you get all the updates there. Y'all know before I end every single video, I give you guys some homework to do, and honestly, this time, just unfollow James Charles if you were. And if you weren't following him, buy yourself a snack because you evaded his manipulation. Care for yourself, put yourself first. You deserve to be safe, you deserve to be happy. And yeah, thank you guys again for watching. I am going to take a nap and take some medicine. With that being said, thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.